Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Torchlight II. And I did mention in the first episode that this was going to be a series that I'm going to play a little awkwardly and take breaks, several day breaks between each recording, and that's already happened. So it's interesting when you load back into this game in that it asks you again, are you playing single player, internet multiplayer, or LAN, local area network multiplayer. And honestly, I've seen some other games in the past couple days that actually do have LAN play, so it seems like it's making a bit of a resurgence in 2024, although this game is much older than that. And then you load here into this area. That's where we were going next. Our quest is to discover the Wellspring Temple. Man, that text is small. Is there a way to make the active quest UI bigger? Yeah. I can't type a number in here, and I think you can only make it smaller. Yeah. So inherently, this is a game that is designed more for PC type gameplay, where you are sticking your face right next to the screen, not for TV gameplay where you are sitting 10 feet away.
Glad you made it.
Not sure if talking to some of these characters are ever going to matter. There's just a lot I would kind of like to see changed. I don't think this is an area we visited before, but it does feel like a area that is already feeling a little redundant. Those are different enemies, certainly, now that we're fighting. And it does seem like we are no longer in the one-hit kill stage. And I would assume this shattered effect that's popping up, almost like a Batman comic. Batman, well, even that reference is probably too old these days. That feels like that's new for this game, is to have more of a impact, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a way to turn that off, on top of just the damage numbers popping up. Inherently though, without any ranged weapons, you can't hit these guys. And if they have ranged weapons, they're going to take pod shots at you.
Yes.
It's my duty to attend the honored dead, but they are angry and have risen from their tombs. The tranquil censors should calm them once again, but they attacked me during the struggle. I dropped it. Can you help me get it back? So he wants me to find an item. Now, what's funny here is that's not giving me a yes or no, accept this as a side quest option. It would be dangerous if the skeletons just constantly rose, because then I could grind my character too much. Although it probably wouldn't be too dangerous. The thing about Torchlight 1, I believe, was that there was just a little bit more modern takes on procedurally generated landmass. Honestly, I'm not sure that Torchlight 2 here isn't doing a slightly better job than even what Diablo 4, much more recent game, is doing as far as making natural terrain. perhaps it's too natural of terrain, and thus the kind of winding backwards and forwards that we're doing here is making for a weirder experience than you really should have. And it's not like this area here is special or handcrafted bespoke. Maybe at some point this bridge might be repaired and that might lead to a new area. We also got a level up, so I should be focusing in on that. Over the entire course of the game, if I could have a healing bot heal me, that might be interesting. And going down this bot route does actually sound more interesting than shield bashes or flame hammers. Meanwhile, my vitality going up would potentially also reduce the amount of hits I take at all. I have to go that high just to get the dexterity to go up. Yeah. Guess we'll stick with that. It is kind of weird though to not be 100% locked into that upgrade once you leave that window and be able to go see a character. I wish there was a way to bring up the map completely. There's a apparently pathfinding ability. Yeah, all I can do is really zoom out the map as much as possible. So this area is large enough to consider it a dungeon, even if it is on the surface of the world. It is kind of interesting also that that quest giver character was, let's see, also not like, so right now we have a 34. Could we could go to a claw weapon, which is not really our character class. We could put this ember into something if we had something. Let's instead switch to a hammer and see. You can definitely feel where the actions per minute of a game like this start to come in, and that this is a very non-stop experience. Okay, so that just doesn't feel like that's working as well, even though it seemingly did more damage. Notice how you can just... Yeah, there's some wider effect that's happening here. You can just play with your inventory open, and you can kind of not play at all and just let your pet attack. And there definitely is a possibility that there definitely is a possibility that you could have a focus build to make your pet do a lot of the attacking. I don't think all of it. With this level, there's a barrel with an explosive next to it, a bomb in it. Interesting. With the more procedurally generated areas, I was about to say though, you do have this issue in that an area can be very random and there can be less to do. Of course, I'm assuming here these are procedurally generated. You could easily these days have an automated experience that would procedurally generate an area and then have a...
What's your business here?
We can't go that way. You could clean up a procedurally generated section to be more
You have gained an experience.
in line with what an artist might want. Which is a weird thought to not start really with an artistic intent, but instead start with a procedurally generated, almost random intent, and then turn that into something. It would be the difference from painting a painting starting with a white blank canvas versus painting a painting by flickering a bunch of paint on it in a random patterns and then trying to convert and connect those dots to some final product. Just keep on moving points around. Okay, quest. So, go through the path of the honored dead to the temple's steeps. Enter the Wellspring Temple and ensure the Guardian of Water is safe. That's protect the Guardian. Obtain the armor schematics from the Beast Warren in the temple steps. We are at the path of the honored dead, I think, right now. Notice that we missed things. So I think this crypt here is probably a side quest that we need to do. But in Diablo, you just kind of never knew if these were going to end up taking forever and being multiple layers, particularly later in the game, or if these are going to be shorter 1-2 floor small temples. The balance there is, I think, difficult to get and maintain, and certainly in Torchlight 1 it felt like there was very few crypts per se, as much as there was just yet another floor in one giant temple. And that was a problem with Torchlight 1 in particular, is that it really felt like, for at least the first half of the game, that there was just one giant temple that you were going deeper and deeper into this cave with different floors. And the floors would drastically change after every 20 or 30 floors, so that they would look visually completely different, which logically didn't make a lot of sense.
I need your help.
So here we have another barely clothed guardian character, and notice how our sword is just clipping straight through her chest. We're not getting voice acting once again though, so it seems like only a few of the quest givers, the main quest givers, are giving full voiced dialogue. In modern times, I would rather have text-to-speech options if you can't afford voice actors. It'd be better if they could afford voice actors and pay human beings to actually apply a craft and art. But for the player's perspective, nobody likes to read these days if you could avoid it. And text-to-speech these days is good enough that it wouldn't sound robotic if you use a high enough quality text-to-speech to pre-render audio. Of course, you have to do that for every language of the game you would spit out, and that multiplies the effort and cost. You must be the human that the Asterians are speaking of. I'm glad to have met you. I've been sent on a quest by the great Regent Eldraine to recover the scroll of Anom Trek, stored in the vault of the corrupted crypt. Here, unfortunately, the Stormborn have already entered the crypt and I have been unable to get past them. Can I ask you to attempt to retrieve the scroll? I'll wait here in the path of the honored dead for you to return. Should you succeed, I will see what I can do to provide you with some equipment more fitting a hero of your statue. And then we see they'll give us stuff.
You have received a quest.
That is now our quest. We might as well just leave this on.
I need your help.
And so when it's a question mark and you click on it, you get maybe some more details. If you really wanted to read all that. I'm not sure it helps you too much to have extra details. And visually, this definitely looks different. Poison in those urns. And kind of heavy hitter characters. Notice how when we're behind something now we have this blue outline. And seemingly I can swing at people that I can't hit. This is a really strong looking guy. And so this would be where building up your special abilities would come into role. Shattered might mean that we broke the shield of the character. And this guy was multiplying as a feat, as an ability. Interesting. Although it seems like multiplying himself came at the cost of strength or life. Guess we'll push forward and not worry about the guy before. The question, I guess, is, let's go ahead and press 3, and then that's going to be our healing bot. And he's going to, I assume, follow us and just apply some healing to us. idea is to not use any of the healing items we had, even from the beginning of the game, and instead stick with the healing bot. Until we need them. There probably will be a point where we will need to use the healing potions, but those will be the biggest of the big boss fights, ones where we can't really run around and interesting characters jumping from above. That feels like that's new. That healing bot stays around for quite a while. Of course, if this is not your bag, you should figure it out pretty quickly. If you have no nostalgia for Diablo, I don't think these kinds of games work particularly well for a newer generation of players. At a certain level, it almost feels like a mobile game would make some more sense. I don't know if we'll ever be able to get up here and reach that character, because I could see engaging in more mindless clicking or tapping in a mobile case by interesting. That's just a door. And I don't even really know what is what, but I'm clicking on it nonetheless. It's not like the bot is using mana at any significant amount. I guess this game fails the Chinese censorship test, and it's one of their rules, because at least it's assumed culturally they don't like to see skeletons, that most games are not approved through their censorship rule if it does have skeletons in it, whereas the vast majority of games like this tend to have a character class that is skeletons or ghouls. And I think for different reasons, there's kind of a lot of reasons why gory, decayed corpses are not allowed in a lot of more Asian countries. Whoops. Wasn't ready. Probably didn't miss too much, but I guess that's the one thing I shouldn't have done. It does seem like being thorough probably doesn't matter too much. Maybe I shouldn't upgrade this and instead should... Well, let's get this to 10 and then let's start focusing on this, because I'm using this more often. And then I think a good strong offense is needed, because we're going to just constantly need Let's see, so we can just shift click to transfer. No, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to put it on. Okay. 2 physical armor, 2 dexterity, plus 3 mana, and an empty socket. That's better. So let's go with that. Armor would be fire armor. So we'll go ahead and socket our first item. Right click to identify this. That's a powerful thing. Maybe we wouldn't use this. We need to start thinking about getting rid of items, and at some level we need to, if you were playing with friends, you'd start handing some of these weapons over to other people. Let's see, this is a slightly faster sword over the broadsword, and it's not a two-handed damage, so we should experiment with that. But this was probably stronger. It's just something about it I didn't really like. Maybe it's because it does an extra amount of physical damage. Yeah, maybe it does 34 damage per second. Or this does what? 3. No, I'm still not sure. But yeah, this like unique wand is probably something I would just sell. But who knows? I don't know how to... This is a ring, so we'll hold on to that. I think that's garbage. I think that's garbage. Yeah, we have a belt that is right click to equip it. It goes there. Alright. That is a better belt than this one would be. I thought that belt was a collar, but they look somewhat similar. Okay. 2% increase of gold does make that worth it. If we could find the entire ghastly set, that might be interesting. Just because something has a socket on it doesn't inherently mean it is something you would want to use. Very fast attack speed and more physical damage. So this sword is actually better than this sword. But then I can wear 2 of them. Interesting. So it does kind of feel like you're not getting painted into the same corner. Like this notched axe. Yeah. It does just feel like you're not painted into the same corner. This is I think the exact same weapon. Light jacket with 2 empty sockets, but no plus 14 health. Do I really need that? I don't know. Seems like the things we started with were truncheons here seem to be very common. It seems like the items we started with were perhaps a little bit more rare. Right now, having that physical armor would be better. This belt is a level 7 belt, but unless I needed poison resist, I don't think it's better. Man, those truncheons are very common. And here you have a case where both of these armors are doing the same amount of physical armor. So it might just come down to which is more valuable at resale, which is not something they're really showing you. And almost certainly I'm holding on to too many items already. And yeah, I'm gonna have to just be more willing to move forward and leave enemies behind. I don't think you are going to have a great experience on this game if you do try to just grind and hit every single enemy on the floor, because there clearly are just some spawn points here where you might walk by them and like miss a person. Levels are coming fairly quickly on easy at the moment. I do suspect that will stop happening. Was that the sound of rats coming out of that chest? You think your pet would attack smaller animals like rats or spiders? That was a thing. I'm noticing a lot of tables here that a lot of tables that feel like they should have boots on them. Or not boots, books, if I can speak correctly. It is just questionable to me whether this is more of a bespoke area, which is what I would expect from these crypts, that more thought would have been put into
completed a quest.
Yep. So this does just feel to me like this was a more bespoke and crafted dungeon. But it is also possible, and I definitely saw this in Diablo games, that you would run into kind of a sub-boss here, and then your actual final place, the deepest part of a dungeon, might be worse, better. What am I trying to say? That there might be more to this dungeon is what I'm trying to say. So it does make a lot of sense to see how far this takes us. Although it may not take us much further. Yeah, portal to the surface. So the game has just conveniently done that for us. Then we are back. Let's go ahead and just bring up the pets inventory, where we're going to have to start selling things fairly quickly. So, equip that, sell that. Let's see. Poison armor versus vitality attribute bonus. We'll probably use that more. And by the time we run into things that actually do start to have poison, I think there's probably a better thought there. Let's see. Mana and 21 health, but 1 physical armor less. The question is, how much is 1 physical armor worth? Okay. That's nothing. And I think we can get rid of our broadsword also at this point. I think these double swords probably do work fairly well. That's a better belt. Is this the same kind of fire armor, electric armor, ice armor, poison armor? I guess technically that's better. But then this gives you plus 6 mana, which maybe doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a question certainly as far as what is the difference between a single level, or what is the difference between rarity. I definitely am liking +1 to physical armor. Well, this is better than that then. I'm liking the fact that you can just right click on things and swap them in or swap them out. Now notice though, we do want to keep an eye on things that or higher rank, or might be unique items, and we didn't get any. That's it for what we can sell. Here we have a named weapon. It would be two-handed with a whole bunch of knockback. Requires what? Level 11. I want to make sure we keep that. I guess we'll probably keep this too. Yeah, we didn't we didn't get any gems or anything there. Obtain the armor schematics from the beast warrens in the temple steeps. I guess we're still doing that. And this is the main story, and I guess we're still doing that. So we talked to her.
My thanks.
Now our sword is not so big, so it's not plunging it into her chest. It is very weird though, for what otherwise is a fairly kid-friendly looking game. Although you are fighting skeletons, it is very cartoony, so it is kind of just weird to have a character class. And this wasn't, I don't recall anything like this in the first game, where you're showing that much belly, that much chest for a female. Which, as much as, well, I might personally be for the free the nipple movement, I also could see that even the most liberal parent having trouble with their friends hearing about nearly topless characters in games, or with friends coming over and seeing it themselves, because not every parent is going to be that liberal. Of course, that certainly drastically depends on what part of the world you're living in. Anyways, the dialogue here is, I find myself impressed with your ability, human. I must confess, when I sent you on this quest, I feel you may not return, but it stirs my heart to see my fears were unfounded. While you were gone, I located an item that might be of use to you. Please take it with my blessing. Okay. And so, the thought here is to look at the price as much as the items, because I think overall with two swords I'm probably doing about 100 damage per second, where this would only do 74 damage per second, and I think it's two-handed, although maybe not. It has a very fast attack speed, which is probably what we're going to try and go for. This would give us a bigger boost. This would give us the most amount of money. It's a collar, so we'll take the collar. Alright. This here increases the health of our dog. It is also now time to send pet to town. Your pet will sell items in its inventory and buy any items requested on your shopping list. Consumable inventory. We could give him fishes. He'd probably eat it immediately. Pets don't have any spells. And so if I wanted to purchase any health potions, which maybe we won't get to a point where health potions are even bigger. Like in Diablo you'd have very small health potions to start with, then you'd have medium and then large. But maybe in this game it's just always going to be the same size health potions, and they just gain some level of adaptability to it, where you get more health the more you level up from a single health potion. Interesting.
Your pet has departed.
He is going to return in 30 seconds. Which that works out very nicely. Although, in fairness, there is a decent argument to then send him back out to sell things. We should also point out we're at 2,601 gold right now.
Yes.
Your pet has returned.
He just returned with 595 gold. And that is the ultimate pitch that Torchlight 1 had, is that just automatically reduced a pain point in Diablo, and that you would often have to use scrolls of town portal to return to the town just to sell items. And it would create a fairly vicious cycle of constantly just walking further and further to get back to town to sell items, or using town portal scrolls to sell items, breaking up the whole action.
What's your business here?
So we made it through a crypt and one area already. Played for a little bit longer. And we can warp if we wanted to warp back. Which, so let's see if that's the right move. This looks like good guys.
Not enough mana.
Interesting. Where'd my mana go?
Not enough mana.
So those are some heavy hitters there. So maybe that's the wrong direction to investigate first. Yeah, so you do need a fairly high amount of mana originally to summon this bot. And we can see my health is low. And it's taking a decent amount of time. Active quest, protect the guardian. We've apparently found a golden key. I'm not sure what that does for us. This guy sucks mana out of you every time he hits you. I'm noticing. A promising fishing hole. I'm not sure I ever really understood the right way to fish. It's funny, it's just text. So it does seem like you're just waiting until it gets all the way to the center. In the first game you could fish forever. Perhaps they are doing you a favor here by saying you can only fish a certain number of times. Perhaps that's not super realistic. With a healing bot going on, you could certainly kill some time and fish while healing yourself. Discovered a new area called Skull Hollow.
You have become more skillful.
Apparently we immediately left Skull Hollow. Let's zoom in a little bit here. There is a problem with scroll wheel being your decision place, because you can have just far wide ranges of.
Your fame has increased.
Apparently, I killed somebody important there. With some infamous enemy. That might very well be more of the procedurally generated element of this game, is that areas might just be labeled as one or the other. That guy's just not going to come down. So what were our quests? By the way. Yeah. I'm just gonna kind of keep dumping things into damage. Temple Steeps is still the area we are going. This does give the impression that this is the direction we should be looking. Although it also just kind of feels like these guys are slightly tougher characters. Oh, I guess if I look at it now, there is some stars, and I'm going to just have to be better about looking at the stars. But yeah, on the map there's a star here and there's a star here. Quest protect the guardians. Quest abort armory. While this does feel to me like this is going in a different area, I don't think this area is where we're supposed to be going. Like, what in the heck is that? Well, this is weird. That just teleported me to a whole different area. Give me some small reward. I do kind of get the feeling that the game is kind of designed in such a way to not let the player get too bored. And so with that, I do get the feeling that perhaps it is like always going to throw enemies at you. And always just push you towards something. So with that being said, unless this final area down here ends, which I kind of don't think it does, I think that this is just going to keep on going towards the main story area. But that's just going to keep opening up. So I should do the other side quest area first, which does have me now just going in circles. Phase portal. Stay close to the raised totems. So these phase portals are something else introduced to in the first game, and it seems like they've changed them somewhat from the first game into now what is effectively a defend the tower mechanic, not to be confused with tower defense, where the towers are down. My inventory is full. So it's more hold the spot.
I can't carry anymore.
Alright, and once we held the spot long enough, we then let's see. Pet tags. Fire armor. Let's put that one on. Poison armor. Fire armor. That is, I think, going to be way better than physical damage. Get rid of that. We can. Oops. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. At some point, I think there is a chance you would probably just start getting rid of things. Regardless. Cloven gloves. Let's keep that. We can get rid of that one. We can definitely get rid of that one. We could, I think, get rid of that one. I think the thought here definitely is to have something that would that's 6 poison armor. So it's like that ring. If it's not part of a set, in the sense that it doesn't work with anything, I'm gonna have to start selling them. And I'm definitely looking for more defense over a health increase. Something being enchanted, I don't think really is worth it, because a lot of things are just going to be enchanted. I can hold more, though, but I'm not sure I'm ever really going to use this bow, but we'll hold on to it just so we have a ranged weapon. Yeah, I just really question so I guess this bow is better. More damage per second, knockback physical damage. Let's see, this ring overall is a 9. So if I was to swap it with that, that's probably fine. And then we need to start thinking about wands. Yeah, I don't think there's a reason to keep an ice wand. Musketoon versus that. Yeah, that's not as good. Yeah, I guess I'm probably looking for empty sockets, but I should probably double check and see what an empty socket does. +7 ice damage versus +2 focus attribute bonus, or +3 vitality attribute bonuses. I imagine focus and vitality are actually fairly useless lower level stats. So we're keeping sets, we're keeping uniques. We can get rid of that. Health stolen per hit might be something worth looking at. But I don't think we need to keep things with sockets just because they have sockets. It seems to me like in this case, the game is going to be way more focused on giving you sockets everywhere. And I wouldn't be surprised if we run into a situation where almost all items eventually just start becoming socketed. I definitely believe in the first game these phase areas were just kind of randomly spawning crypts, keeping things. Yeah, my health got low, and I didn't even recognize it if it weren't for the fact that the tooltip popped up. Yeah, I don't think there were totems in the first game. That works. I think fairly nicely. Definitely also feels like these guys are getting stronger. And I wonder if that is because the tower is getting higher, or if that is because I'm taking too long. Inherently, you would have to assume that this is just all procedurally generated. Notice how it starts with low-level skeletons, and then the second phase, second wave is more shielded and armored skeletons. The weapon. Now the game doesn't automatically use health potions or anything, so more do I think there really is a maximum number of health potions. If there is, it's possibly somewhere in the lines of 100 or 99. So yeah, this just does go, these do just go in waves in a little circular area, and then once you're done, you just leave back to the way you came. Which then obviously is gonna just put you back to that same spot of, let's make sure, what does this do? Fire damage on the weapon. I don't think we have anything more we could do on weapons, so then it would be fire armor on something, so we'll just throw it and then just throw it. Yep. And then we have a gun with a slow attack speed that I don't think we'd keep. We have a wand, which I don't think we would use. Is better than this wand. Of course, if we were playing with people, this is like the first shield we've seen. If we were playing with other people, you'd think about giving some of these items to the other people. We don't have any identify scrolls. Interesting. So spend 800 gold to buy identify scrolls. A single socket when we reach level 11. We're at level 8 right now. It's probably not worth holding on to that. Then nothing there. Nothing there.
Your pet has departed.
Now we're further away, notice, and so that's going to be 1 minute and 6 seconds before we even get further. And it does look like this area does just continue to connect, which that's really where another button here to show the full map is kind of necessary. And at some level, I think what I'm going to end up having to do is enter the bone gallery level 8 to 11. So there's another crypt that way, and I would be a little under leveled for it.
Your pet is back from town.
Hear my words.
I mean you no harm, but I'm a lonely soul. I'm trapped in the afterlife, betrayed, drowned by villainous companions. I dwell here, reliving my end, waiting in vain for my death to be avenged. But it has been over 100 years since I took my last breath, and nearly that many since my murderers themselves perished in their hidden retreat in Plunder Cove, seeking the legend Captain Wiley through the portal. Show him that justice that has never forgotten him, nor will it forgive him.
You
So.
have received a quest.
We have a whole side quest to Plunder Cove, and that is where we will end this episode and start the next episode. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.